Hello YouTube, I'm Nathan Martin with the Divine Pollination Hive, and in today's video I'd like to discuss hyper-rationality and how it deals with patriarchy and masculinity. A lot of people think that if you're really rational as a person, then you're very masculine, you're disconnected from your feelings. But we're gonna discuss that. We're gonna go into what that actually means and why, so we can actually try to see if it's okay to be rational and if you can actually still be feminine and rational. If that's something that interests you, stay tuned. Rationality. Oh my goodness, you're being logical. You must be completely disconnected from your feelings. You must be really just doing what you think, is cold and calculated, and you're not really connected to anything inside you, especially not your femininity. Is this actually the case, though? Why do people say that? And I will venture, this is my opinion, my educated, rational opinion based on everything that I've researched and looked at in my discussions with these types of people, the super rational types. But being a rational person myself, somebody that has really worked hard on my rationality through doing emotional process work, connecting to my feelings to become more rational. What they're doing is they're disconnecting from their feelings to be more rational. I'm connecting to my feelings to be more rational. I'm not bypassing around my feelings. I'm connecting into and through my feelings. So my rationality goes through my feelings and not around them. When I have a feeling, it actually makes sense. If I feel angry, there's a reason why I'm angry. If I feel sad, there's a reason why I feel sad. And it's a logical reason. And I can actually go into that and dissect it and reflect on it. That is being rational. But the other rational people, they are bypassing, they're going around their feelings. They're going straight from their mental right to their actions. They're not going mental feelings, actions. Another thing that they're doing, these hyper-rational types, is they have a wrong assumption. They're starting with an assumption. And this assumption is a reversal of cause and effect in regards to consciousness and matter. See, the question is, does matter cause consciousness, or does consciousness cause matter? Your worldview, your perspective is going to determine how you interact in your rationality. See, if matter causes consciousness, then you're going to see the world, life, and all these other things as something that's cold and calculated. You're going to not be as connected to everybody around you because it's really all about doing it for yourself, being who you are, and kind of being selfish about it. It's a dog-eat-dog world, very reptilian. But if you're seeing that consciousness cause matter, then you're realizing that we are projecting ourselves down into this experience, that we are creating reality as we go, and that reality is fluid and it's based on consciousness. Now, your worldview is going to be very different if that is what you believe cause and effect is. You're going to see that you have to think it, you have to feel it, then you act upon it. You're going to see that you have to project down through your feelings into your actions, that you can't bypass around them. And so it's very important that we see really, and not even just see, but know within ourselves, be in this state of gnosis, be in this state of alignment where we actually experience that our feelings are directly connected, and that cause is our consciousness coming down into action and not action causing consciousness. Lastly, I'd like to talk about monological and multilogical processing and how that actually relates. Monological processing is where like 2 + 2 = 4. There's really just one way to get to that. 2 + 2 = 4. It's a problem. It's very monological. You don't have to look at multiple angles. It's very cut and dry. Multilogical processing is something like, you look at a big issue like, say, gun control or, human rights, slavery. All these issues are multifaceted, and they require multiple perspectives. And this is never more true than just actually in a relationship. When you're in a relationship, you have two perspectives. You have this side and this side. Now they come together and they have to work together and come to a synthesis of their two different perspectives. But monological thinking means that my perspective competes against your perspective. Multilogical thinking says my perspective and your perspective must come together and alchemically react so that we can transmute and synthesize into something different, into something higher, into our. This is how opposing things work together, like positive and negative working together, male and female working together, or masculine and feminine if you prefer. But these things come together, they go through a chemical reaction, and they transform, they transmute into something new. And that is multilogical thinking. Sometimes you can call that dialectical thinking because it can be an argument, or it's dialogical because there's a dialogue. But in both cases, it is multiple perspectives. Multilogical thinking is also able to empathize with other sides. It places yourself in the shoes of these different experiences and tries to feel where they're coming from. It looks at the multiple layers of factors, historical factors, cultural factors. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different layers of factors, nature factors, nurture factors. How was this person raised? What kind of traumas did they experience? All of these are different factors that must be considered in a multilogical process. But most people, when they're trained in schooling, which is called didactic schooling because that's how schools all usually operate. Yeah, didactic schooling just really trains people into a very monological way of thinking. Why? Because they imprint upon us. They tell us this is the correct answer, memorize it, this is how you get there, now give me the answer. They take things like history and they go into the what, but they don't go into the why. And if they do address a why, they give a very, superficial reason why. They don't actually go into any kind of depth or detail. But the why, you need very multilogical understanding. You need to go into all these different issues. But because of this didactic training in schooling, where they tell us what to believe, they give us the what, and then they tell us how to get there, they don't give us any freedom in processing it in a multilogical fashion. We actually become monological beings in all of our thought processes. So we're not only doing math in a monological way, we're solving all of life's problems monologically. Now, if the left brain is now trained to be monological, it's not going to lean into and expand and accept information from other senses. It's not going to accept information from other parts of the brain. It's not going to say, hey, right brain, what do you have to offer? It's not going to say, hey, limbic system, or hey, reptilian brain, or hey, this part of the neocortex, or whatever. It's not going to reach into the different parts of the brain to accept information. It's going to be hyper isolated. It's going to isolate itself. The left brain isolates itself with this monological thinking because it doesn't know how to be multilogical. So I am rational in a multilogical fashion. And I am very connected to my feelings. And my left brain knows how to work with the rest of my brain in its logic and processing of information. Monological people are very left brain isolated. They're not going into other things. So most people, when they get in an argument, or they think, hey, you're being too rational, I'm going to shut down to you. Well, because they have an association of this isolated left brain, and they don't realize that there is other possibilities. Anyways, I just wanted to kind of talk about that and how patriarchy and matriarchy, those kinds of things, are connected to this. Oh, hello. Matriarchy and patriarchy are connected to this, and it's interesting how it all just kind of connects together because people associate this isolated patriarchal brain, the left brain being isolated, as patriarchy, and that's probably true. But that doesn't mean that all rationality is patriarchy. Rationality in general, when it's full brain, when the left brain doesn't isolate itself from the rest of the senses and faculties, is very, very connected to all parts, including feminine. I'm Nathan Martin with the Divine Pollination Hive at divinepollination.com and unityprocess.com. Be well.